Day in the life of a six-figure bookkeeper. What do I really do? Is this a good business for you to start? Can you do what I've been able to do over the past 5 years? My name is Zach Pasquarello. I currently have 87 bookkeeping clients. I started my bookkeeping business 5 years ago, and now I just make these videos because two reasons. One, I just love talking about my bookkeeping business. And two, I genuinely enjoy teaching other people how to do what I've done. My goal is to teach you what I've done so that you can learn from my mistakes and ideally fast track to success. So like I said, I have 87 clients. I'm going to start by going through my profit. May 2025, I actually had the worst month over the past 10 months, May 2025. And it's not necessarily because May was a bad month. It's more so an indicator that the previous 9 months were really, really good. So as an entrepreneur, you ideally want to continue growing, but you're going to get to a point where you plateau. It's just natural. You cannot continue to grow exponentially forever. It's just not realistic. There's going to be slow points in your business. So last month I made $85,000 and I spent almost $7,000. So my profit was about $78,000. That's not all from bookkeeping. Let me just go through my profit real quick and then I'll get into the details of a day in my life. So last month, $43,000 from bookkeeping. $8,000 from selling a bookkeeping course. So I do have a course for sale. If you want to buy it, that's amazing. If you don't want to buy it, you definitely don't have to. I'm not here to push my course. I'm not here to pressure you to buy anything from me. I simply have these resources available in case you want them, in case you want to fast track your education or fast track your learning. So I do have a course for sale. And then $3,000 from consultations. So included in that, I've got digital downloads for sale. I have weekly meetings. I have one-on-one consultations, and all of this stuff is linked in the description of this video. And then $10,000 from interest income, and then $17,000 from origination fees and loan consulting, and then $2,000 from YouTube. So let me go back to that interest income and the loan consulting. I'm a private money lender for real estate investors. I started 2.5 years ago, and now I actually have an investment fund called Zip Capital, totally separate from Harrisburg Bookkeeping, and I am offering 8% up to 12% fixed returns to my investors into Zip Capital. And then I use that money. I use some of my own money. I use other people's money to lend on real estate loans. So I made a decent amount, $27,000 last month, interest income and loan consulting origination fees. If you want to invest into my fund, there's also a link in the description of this video. And then my expenses were kind of sporadic. $2,000 interest, $2,300 contractors, $100 bank charges, $900 in Stripe fees for a total of about $7,000. So last month, my profit, $78,000, worst month that I've had in the past 10 months. I'm on pace to hit $1 million this year between my bookkeeping business, my education business, and my private money lending and Zip Capital. So let's go through my schedule. It starts at 5 a.m. and it ends at around 5 p.m. Let me just break it down really loosely, and then I'll go into some more details. So I wake up at 5 a.m. every day, and that's simply because I'm not a night person. I really like to wake up early and drink a cup of coffee, and then I like to go to bed early at night. Some people are different. If you're more of a night person, less of a morning person, then just switch my routine. Wake up at 7 a.m., and instead of going to bed at 9 or 10, maybe you work from 10 to 12 after the kids go to sleep. Get a couple hours of work done in the evening right before bed, if you prefer working in the evening. Me personally, I prefer working early in the morning, so I wake up at 5 a.m. and I knock out 2 hours of work in the morning before anybody else wakes up. Cup of coffee, no distractions, throw in a podcast, listen to some relaxing music. I get more done from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. than I do the rest of the day. Honestly, I crush work first thing in the morning. And then I eat breakfast. I say hello to the family. I've got 4 kids and I have 1 on the way. So we're about to have 5 kids. And for about an hour, maybe 30 minutes, depending on the day, I eat breakfast, spend time with the family, and then I'm back to work. From 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., I just continue to work. And then I take a 2-hour lunch. So I go to the gym. Some people like to work out before work. Some people like to work out after work. I actually prefer to work out in the middle of the day. It perfectly splits up my day. So I work for 4 hours, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., and then I take a 2-hour break, go to the gym, work out, blow off some steam, get the blood flowing, refresh, recharge, eat lunch, and then come back, and I do 3 more hours of work from 2 to 5. So what is that? 4 plus 3 plus 4. That's like 9-ish hours per day that I work. And that's pretty much it, honestly. I work remotely. So I just have a home office right here. Like my background, you can see where I am right now. I'm not in a studio. I'm not in an office somewhere. This is my home office. Luckily, I have like my own room. So even when the kids are home, I can just close the door, throw in some headphones, listen to a podcast, and block out the noise, and I can get back to work. But I work remotely. I don't go to anyone's office. And this is important for several reasons. Let me explain. When I was getting started, I went to people's offices because they were paying me $50 an hour. I was happy to do it. It was a good way for me to get started. You watching this video are probably going to have several opportunities to be an in-office bookkeeper for some companies. And it's going to seem like a great opportunity. You're going to do it, but then probably you're going to learn that you don't like doing it. So you've got 2 options. You can just take my advice and just don't do it at all, or you can try it out for yourself, see if you like it. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But I did it, and I did not like it for a couple reasons. One, it made me feel like an employee. Whenever you're in office, I was constantly worried about the owner walking past, seeing me. Like I felt like I had to sneak my cell phone. I felt like I had to always be working because they were paying me per hour. So I felt like while I was there, I had to be constantly doing work, which there's nothing wrong with that, but just having that pressure just made me feel like an employee. And I started a business so that I had the freedom and flexibility to do whatever I want. I don't want to be somebody else's employee. So I didn't like the way it felt, but then also super inefficient, especially if you have to drive 20, 30, 45 minutes to get to somebody's office. You're wasting so much time. The beautiful thing about a bookkeeping business is that we can do everything virtually and remotely. So we can service clients all over the country, but we can also service all of our clients from the comfort and the flexibility of our own home. So not only is it comfortable, like I'm in gym clothes right now, black t-shirt, gym shorts, sitting in my office, super comfortable, but it's also super efficient. Like I said, I wake up at 5 a.m., I make a cup of coffee, and I get right to work. If I had an office, I would have to take a shower, pack my lunch, put on work clothes, get in my car, drive there, get into my office, get situated. I save so much time, so much energy. I just roll out of bed, make a cup of coffee, boom, I'm working in less than 15 minutes. Super efficient. So work virtually, work remotely. You don't have to go to anyone's office. It's more fun. You have more freedom, and it's also way more efficient. It's just better all across the board. So throughout my day, I typically try to do bookkeeping first. And then at the end of the day, I'll do what I call sales and prospecting. So especially when I was just getting started, the first 6 months, I honestly didn't really have a ton of bookkeeping. I maybe had 1 or 2 hours a day of actual bookkeeping work. And then what do you have? 6 hours left over in the rest of the day. So you've got 2 options. You could just do your work and then call it a day and just enjoy the freedom and flexibility of being an entrepreneur, or you could try to grow your business. And that's what I did. If you're anything like me, if you're trying to get to 6 figures, you're going to have to work hard to grow your business. So every morning, did my bookkeeping first, got that out of the way, and then I went all in on sales and prospecting. When I say prospecting, I mean like looking for clients. And I would get crazy creative with it. I would go to LinkedIn, job posting, Indeed, job advertisements, Google Maps. I would look for local companies, networking groups. I would try to join networking groups and maybe see who's in the group and maybe send them an email, maybe call some people, maybe send some cold emails to some local businesses that I found, scour Facebook groups, search for people on LinkedIn, maybe write a blog, maybe try to optimize my website for SEO, maybe make a QuickBooks tutorial, whatever that looks like for you. There are hundreds of different options for sales and prospecting and also marketing. So I did three things really. I used to say two, but it's really kind of three things. So I did bookkeeping first, and then I would do miscellaneous sales and prospecting, like just kind of like shotgun, like kind of just trying different things and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work. And that was kind of sporadic. But the marketing, I actually did marketing throughout the day. So I would make a post first thing in the morning and I would schedule it for 8 a.m. And then I would make a short video at 9 a.m. Maybe I record a video on my phone at 9 a.m., upload that to Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And then I would do 2 more hours of bookkeeping. And then maybe in the afternoon, I would make a tutorial. Or like right now, like perfect example, right now, it's the afternoon and I'm making this marketing video. So I did my bookkeeping in the morning, and then now I'm working on some marketing content in the afternoon. But I'm kind of constantly doing marketing. And I really think that is a big contributor to my success. I never stopped prospecting, networking, marketing, selling. I always did those things. And I was always thinking about those things. I was obsessed with marketing and prospecting. I was obsessed with trying to come up with new ideas to reach new customers. Some people are like that. Some people aren't. If you're like me, you're probably going to grow your bookkeeping business pretty big. Like I said, 87 clients. If sales and marketing aren't your thing, that's totally fine. You could probably have a very successful business. You could probably have 20 or 30 clients. You could probably make $10,000, maybe $15,000 per month, and you could live a very good life. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I do bookkeeping first because that's the most important thing that I do as a bookkeeping business owner. And I generally recommend there's 2 things. There's marketing and sales, and then there's bookkeeping, customer service. Customer service is the most important part. Marketing and sales, when you're getting started, is the hardest part, but it's not the most important, because bookkeeping is the most important thing you do, because you need to actually do a good job. You need to keep your clients, because you just spent so much time marketing and selling, trying to get clients. And then if you finally land a client, that's the hardest part. If you finally land a client and then you do a bad job, you're going to lose them. And then you're going to have to repeat the process and do more marketing and sales. But instead, if you focus on the most important part, actually delivering high quality customer service, you're going to keep your clients. And that's really, really important, because I would much rather keep a client than lose a client and have to get a new one. Client retention, so important, because whenever you land a sale, let's say the client pays you $500 a month, you're not landing a $500 sale. You're potentially landing a $12,000 sale, because they're going to stick around for 2 years. And so that $500 a month over 2 years is actually going to pay you $12,000. So think about that when you're creating marketing content, whenever you're going into a sales call. Think that I'm about to earn $12,000 by landing this client. So doing a good job and retaining your clients is super important, because you're getting that monthly recurring revenue. And also, if you do a good job for your clients, they're going to tell other people about you. And then your bookkeeping business is going to naturally grow. You don't even necessarily need to do a great job of marketing. If you just do a really amazing job at being a bookkeeper for your clients, then they're going to tell their friends about you. And then you're going to get referrals. And referrals are the best way to get a client, because that lead, that person who got referred to you, is probably going to hire you, because their best buddy, who's also a real estate investor, just referred you over to them. So if you do a good job, you're going to get referrals, you're going to keep your clients, And then you're going to get this thing called monthly recurring revenue, which I stumbled upon monthly recurring revenue by accident. But if you follow any entrepreneur guru, they talk about monthly recurring revenue like it's an amazing thing, because it is. It's so incredible. I'm able to plan. I can pretty much consistently know that I'm going to make $40,000 to $45,000 every month as long as I don't lose my clients because of monthly recurring revenue. If you're a roofer and if you land a new client, sure, you might make $12,000 on that one client, but they're not going to pay you next month. They're not going to pay you next year. So every time you do a sale, you get a client, but then you got to continue next month doing more sales. You have to continue doing more sales. But for me, honestly, I could stop selling. I have stopped selling. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, I am not doing any more marketing for my bookkeeping business, which would be impossible for any other business that doesn't have monthly recurring revenue. But because I did all the work in the first couple years, now I have all these clients and I can just sit back and chill and just do the bookkeeping and not really worry about trying to grow my business. So it's going to take a lot of hard work in the beginning. Marketing and sales, the hardest part. It's going to be hard in the beginning. But once you get your clients, honestly, like you could just chill for the next 30 years and just be a high paid bookkeeper, make six figures, and live a great life. Just being a virtual, remote, outsourced bookkeeper. No taxes, no payroll, no CFO services, just bookkeeping. Monthly recurring revenue, really a beautiful, powerful thing. Let's talk about some other things. Artificial intelligence. What kind of impact does artificial intelligence have on my daily operations? So right now, AI cannot do bookkeeping. We have QuickBooks rules. We have rules automations, which definitely help. So basically, QuickBooks automation can pick up keywords in the bank text of transactions. And then based on those keywords, based on the rules that you input into QuickBooks, it will automatically categorize those transactions. But there's always going to be checks and bank deposits and wire transfers and Cash App payments and Venmo payments. There's always going to be things that need to be done by a human. So here's what I tell people. I'm not afraid of the future. I embrace the future. I embrace technology. I love it. Here's what I tell people. You're not going to get replaced by AI, at least not in the near future. But you might get replaced by somebody else who knows how to use AI. So don't be afraid of AI. Learn how to use it. It's a powerful tool. You want to know how to use it because it can help you with your business. So I have this belief that there is a limit to how much real work that I can do. And I think that limit is about 50 minutes. So I mentioned before that I work from 5 to 7 and then take an hour break. And then I work from 4 to 12 and then take a 2-hour break. And then I work from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. and then I'm done for the day. I might open up my computer for an hour in the evening if I'm behind on my work. But typically 8 to 9 hours is about all that I do Monday through Friday, because I believe that there's about a 50-minute limit to how much I can really work at one time. If anybody tells me they consistently work for 8 hours straight, that's amazing, but I just don't really believe you, especially if you're doing it consistently and effectively, because our brains are only capable of so much. We need a break. And so I try to work for about 50 minutes, and then I try to take a break. Maybe I go grab a snack. Maybe I go for a walk. Maybe I go check in with my wife. Maybe I don't know what it is. It could be different for everybody, but I would recommend try to focus for 45 to 50 minutes and then take a 5 or 10 minute break and then do it again for a couple hours. And then maybe you take a longer break halfway through the day to really get the blood flowing and recharge. Give it a try if you haven't already. I bet you will be surprised at how efficiently you can work for those 50-minute blocks inside that 4-hour block with a longer break after that. But work as much as you want. That's the beauty of entrepreneurship. We are making 100% commission. So if you want to make $60,000 a year, do it. You could probably have, 10 clients and make $60,000 a year and have a very comfortable life. You could work maybe 5 to 10 hours a week and literally make $60,000 a year and have an amazing work-life balance. Or you could absolutely crush it and do what I did and work 50 hours a week for 5 years straight. Don't take vacations, work on the weekends, don't take off on holidays, grind. If you want to, I'm not saying you have to, but I'm saying if you want to make $600,000 per year, you can also do that. That's the cool thing about a bookkeeping business. You can chill, relax, work part-time and make 60, or you can grind, hustle, work your butt off and make $600,000 per year. The choice is yours. As an entrepreneur, the choice is yours. You make 100% commission. I work a little bit on the weekend. I work maybe 1 or 2 hours on Saturday, maybe 30 minutes or an hour on Sunday. Nothing crazy. I try to do it early in the morning, or I try to do it when my kids take a nap, because I do try to prioritize my family. But I will work for a couple hours on the weekend simply to catch up on emails. You will be surprised at how much you can get done for that 1 or 2 hours on the weekend. That will just help you get ahead. That way Monday morning comes around and you're not feeling like you're drowning in emails and catch-up work. So I recommend, if you're struggling to keep up with your work, if you're in that growth mode, consider working for a couple hours on the weekend. I'm not saying destroy your personal life and work for 10 hours on Saturday, but 1 or 2 hours on the weekend, it could help you get ahead. Holidays, vacation, that's up to you. Like I said, if you want to grind, hustle, make $600K a year, you might not be going on a ton of vacations. You might not be celebrating every holiday, but that's up to you. If you want to work a lot and make a lot of money, you can. If you want to take extended vacations and relax on the holidays, you also can. Totally up to you. So that's it. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I love talking about this stuff. Let me know in the comments what you think. Subscribe to my channel. I'm making new videos every week. My goal is to teach you how to start and grow your own bookkeeping business. Don't forget, check out the links in the description. I made that course just for you. I've got those digital downloads, the Facebook group, the weekly group calls. I did all that stuff for you.